Skarner is one of those characters that was added in the game, and then the developers didn't really know what to do with it. I mean, they added the lore, and it's kind of cool, but then they just left it as that. If memory serves, his people are part of some stone entities. I mean, they're like different beings than normal flesh and blood creatures. They're living creatures that are made out of minerals. And it turns out that they're very important as a resource because if you kill them by mining them, you turn them into Hextech crystals. These are crystals that power the entire technological city of Piltover. And Skarner is one of the few surviving members of his endangered species. Basically, imagine if aliens came to Earth and realized that human flesh and bone can be melded into some form of resource in order to power up their spaceships. Like, that's how tragic Skarner's story is. And recently, League of Legends added this twat, which is by far the darkest and most sadistic character in the entire league. I mean, we're talking even more sadistic than Dr. Mundo. Because you see, now the lore is getting a little bit deeper. Now, apparently, when these creatures are being mined, they're still alive. So even though they're turned into a Hextech crystal, like their body is shaped to something unrecognizable than what it was before, these creatures are still conscientious and understand the pain and the misery that is being inflicted upon them. So why do I bring this up? Well, apparently the new character is Seraphine, and Seraphine is being born with some magical autism, and by this I mean like she can actually hear the emotions of people around her. Like, it's not just empathy, it's again like some form of magical autismo where she is just being bombarded with the powerful emotions of everyone. And as you can imagine, this makes her unable to have a normal life. But eventually her parents find out a way for them to be able to block this wave of emotion that gets to surround her. And pretty much like the goggles that Cyclops from X-Men has to have. So these things are made out of Hextech crystals, right? Like they're made from the contorted bodies and tormented souls of Skarner's people. And apparently, like, she is able to actually hear them. Like, she can hear their songs. And it's not just one or two creatures that are trapped in these Hextech crystals. There's thousands, if not tens of thousands of them, right? And you would think, like, an actual person that can, you know, tap and hear the plight of what appears to be the tormented souls of an entire race would have some empathy for that. Like, she would at least go on and tell people, it's like, hey, these Hextech crystals are actually made out of living beings, and it's not okay what we're doing. But instead, no, like, she doesn't do that. What she does is, like, she talks to these souls, which, like, start singing a song of mourning to her, and, you know, like, they're, like, the lamentation of the Brackern, or whatever. But after that, it's just like the most sadistic thing that I have ever read in a League of Legends character, right? Like, she shoves that shit into her hovercraft, consumes the soul essence from these tormented creatures, in order for her to float above the ground while she is playing her music. I just, like, why? I mean, it's such a little trade-off for, like, what she is doing. Like, she's tormenting these souls even further, so she can just rise, like, 5 centimeters off the ground in order to sing to the masses. I mean, this bitch just took sadism to a whole new level. I don't think, like, any other League of Legends character is that sadistic. I mean, I dare you to find me a single character from... I mean, it's not even League of Legends. Like, at this point, feel free to go to even the Warhammer 40k universe. And like, find a character that's so evil and twisted. Because, again, I understand that usually when characters are twisted, it's A, they didn't know better. Or, you know, like, they have no empathy. So, like, there is that excuse. Or you know, they think that the ends justify the means, so they get to do some horrible stuff in the name of some greater good. Well, like, no, Seraphine, what she does is she puts thousands of sentient beings through perpetual torment just to have like a hovercraft that lifts 5 or 10 centimeters off the ground. I mean, if that's not fucked up, I genuinely do not know what is. And remember Skarner, you know, like I said, he is the last of the Bracken race. I mean, he's like one of the last ones that managed to survive the genocide inflicted upon his people. Well, apparently there is some interaction between Seraphine and him in the game where Seraphine literally says, hey, do you want to hear the song of your people? I mean, you know, like, do you want to hear the lamented cries of anguish, agony, pain, as your brethren have been disfigured and are now being perpetually tormented so I can lift my little hovercraft 5 centimeters off the ground? This is just, like, I love it. I absolutely love it. If you think Warhammer 40k is dark, I mean, no, this is like red pill Seraphine. And the funny thing is, like, I don't believe Riot actually wanted her character to be evil. They just didn't realize what is being implied as they're writing the lore. You know, it would have been funny if she would have been like, oh, my entire society is built upon these Hextech crystals. And if people were able to hear the fact that they're actually living entities and they're being tormented, then they might actually stop using Hextech crystals, and that would be bad for me, so might as well just shut them up by stuffing them in this hoverboard so they can never talk again. I mean, that would have been a lot cooler, but again, like, I don't think Riot actually figured out what they were doing with this character. And a lot of people, believe it or not, are pissed off on the League of Legends forums because her lore doesn't make sense. They want justice for Skarner. And she doesn't even, like, fit that much in the universe. I mean, she's so out of place. And like, her entire kit is just forced into this universe. I mean, it does feel, like, really out of place. I mean, you're playing in a game where, you know, you got like this Viking with 2 axes, and you got like this samurai with this big ass sword, and then you just have like some random girl on with a microphone on a hovercraft powered by the anguish of 1,000 souls, you know, just hovering around and singing musical notes. Oh my god, yeah. It's the Chinese, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, when once the Chinese government got a hold of Riot Games, they got, like, interesting things to push out for the community. But, yeah, I mean, Seraphine is just, like, some cash grab for ADC. And